really the core of our identity is the tension in between those cultures. That's something that we were interested in exploring in the character of Gayatri from the very beginning.
I have thank you for the opportunity to interview you guys today.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
And I have a couple of questions, and hopefully you get a break in between because it's going to be a lot of talking. Telling people we talk a lot, right? So, I want to say I did enjoy your film, and I love watching it with my amma. And I would like to begin with one of the first things I noticed in your movie is that there was code switching. Mm-hmm. I don't ever see that in movies generally, and I was like looking at it, and I was like turning into a Leonardo DiCaprio moment of like, I know that. I was like, oh my God, I do that. And so was that something intentional that you guys planned, or was that just the actress coming on the spot and doing that?
Can I ask which specific scene struck you with the code switching?
So it was when she finally realized there was another brown girl at the retreat. And then I was just like, because I was looking at her, I'm like, you look like you're one of ours, but I don't know. And then she did it, and I was like, I see it. And I was like, my mom was like, I have no idea what is happening and why you're yelling at the TV. But I was like, I see it. So
that's actually interesting that you have identified the difference in experiencing that scene between you and your mom, because you have different interpretations of that scene as, like, your mom is a Tamil woman, you are Tamil who has grown up in the West, right? So I think the core of code switching is being a child of different communities simultaneously. So you are trying to find a way to exist with the least amount of friction possible in all of the communities that you inhabit. So like the scene with teenage Gayatri where she's arguing with Bharti and she's saying like, at least white people don't judge me for wearing jeans and a t-shirt. And then Bharti is like, in the Vedalam, so she has this understanding of her own culture, which is like very strict, and it's like anything that isn't that is wrong.
Yes.
But she does not understand Gayatri's experience, which is our experience as the descendants of immigrants, where we are straddling two cultures, and we are not obviously fully Western, but we're also not fully a part of our homeland. So like really the core of our identity is the tension in between those cultures. That's something that we were interested in exploring in the character of Gayatri from the very beginning.
And I think it extends also to this idea of like multiplicity, which is true, of the film itself with like the masala framework of like blending genres, and it's also true in the way that we see identity, in the way that we write characters, like even the way like our protagonist's name is Gayatri, but then and her grandmother calls her Kariga, Judy calls her Tree.
Yes.
She introduces herself to Reina as Gayatri, which Reina says Gayatri correctly once, and then she calls her Gayatri, and all sorts of just mutilations of her name. So, and that is like the experience of living in a place that your culture is not the dominant culture, right? Like you are just trying to get along and to fit in and to feel a sense of belonging, but you're also trying to preserve that culture, often because that culture connects you to your heritage and your family and your traditions. So I think even what you identified with code switching, that's just like a manifestation of that anxiety, I think.
And as I mentioned about voice acting, there was a moment in your film that you had the characters come out with a demon voice. Was that digitally altered, or was that the actors doing it?
That's an interesting question. Yeah. That's actually, we have not been asked that before. The way we did that voice is with all of our effects, audio and visual, we like to have as much of a practical base as possible, and then we like to build on top of that also as much as possible, because it's easier for the augmenting artist to have an organic, realistic base. So for Monster Judy's voice, we had the actor Angela. She workshopped her own version of the voice by herself, and then she did that on set. We captured it on set. And then we took that voice and we did some post-processing on it. There are like sound plugins that you can use. There's one called Dehumanizer.
Yes.
So that's one of the ones that we used to, like, it was important for us, again, not only in the sound, but also in the visual of the monster, that you can still see and feel the performance. So it can't just be like purely digital, like created from nothing, because then you won't get the emotion.
Or so heavily prosthetic based that you don't feel the actor beneath the prosthetics.
Right. Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna skip to a question about your great aunt was in this movie.
Correct.
And I didn't know that till after I watched it. I'm like, I wonder who she is.
How did you find that out that she's our great aunt, by the way?
It was in your bio thing that I got. Yeah, and I was
Very
like,
cool.
oh, because when I watched the movie, like the first 2 seconds when my amma heard it, I was like, she sounds like my dad's older sister, but her mannerisms are of my great aunt. And I was just like, and then I'm like, who is this person? And I'm like, oh, it's their actual auntie. Okay, that makes much more sense.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to know, did she improvise any of her lines? Like she said something about your mind is full of Reese's Pieces, which I was dying of. I was like, yeah, that sounds like my great aunt too. But I was like, is that something she says to you guys or?
Yeah. So, I mean, the character of Bhakti Else and the performance by Usha Krishnan as Bhakti is the beating heart of Namaslay. She is, I think, extraordinary in the movie, and it almost can be taken for granted, the performance she gives, because it's so natural. It just it almost seems like she's playing herself, but she's actually Usha as a person is extremely jovial, and she's like always smiling and she's always laughing, and that's like an aspect of Bhakti, but the character of Bhakti is a little bit more of a disciplinarian.
She was really nervous about doing the slap scene of Gayatri because he's like, I don't want to like be mean.
She's like a very incisive character, but we worked a lot with all of our actors to rehearse the script, and I think for the Tamil in particular, we wrote all the dialogue initially in English, and then we were privileged to work with a great writer named Anand Krishnamurthy, who translated our English dialogue into Tamil. And then we basically rehearsed the scenes with Anand, like over and over again, just the three of us, to make sure that it kind of preserved the intention of every scene and that it felt like true to, something Anand was really good about articulating is that like, there's certain things that like, even if you write it in English, when you translate it into Tamil, it still has to feel like you had that thought in Tamil. It can't feel like it's an English thought that's then literally translated into Tamil. And that is the artistry of translation. That's the task
Which
of translation.
I loved all the translation. I was like, yep. And I was like, okay, that one word, I was like, I don't know what this means. You've never called me this, Amma. What is this endearment that I've never heard of?
Yeah.
But no, I loved it. I was like, I told my mom, I was like, okay, we have to go visit her because now I have to watch this movie. I'm
Thank
like,
you.
I need to go visit mine.
Were you going to say something here?
I was going to say, Anand's way of writing Tamil is just so, like, especially now as students of the language, after we finished Namaslay and then we started learning, we would text Anand and we'd be like, dude, these lines that you wrote, Anaitum Namul Anaitilum Nam, that's like so, he like really loves the language and he can write it in a way where he understands like the rhythm of Tamil and balance. That's how we write in English also, like words have a rhythm and you can deploy syllables such that when they are spoken aloud it's like music and he can do that in Tamil just so expertly. I feel, as Rish said, privileged that he wrote those lines for us, because the way that he has deployed Tamil in the movie, it's like he is an artist.
And that is, I think, that is like the wonder of translation, and it's like the task of the translator. Our grandmother, actually, she lives in Chennai, and she's still working as a translator. She translates Malayalam literature, and she also does subtitle work for Tamil and Malayalam films. And she, we've learned a lot from her about just like how difficult it is to translate a work or translate, poetry or dialogue into another language, because I think the goal with great translation is to keep intact the poetry, of the original language. So even if it's poetry, obviously Tamil is a very poetic language.
Yes.
But the poetry in Tamil is distinctive from the poetry in English.
Yes. I always feel it's better hearing it in Tamil than hearing it in English. And like, even when I watch movies and I'm like, oh wait, this like Squid Games
Right.
is dubbed in
Yeah.
Tamil, and I listen to the English version. I'm like, there's no poetry in
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but in the Tamil version, I'm like, but the
Wow,
voice
yeah.
acting was great, but it's also like everything. I was like, wow, I'm like
Yeah.
invested, and I'm hearing it in Tamil, but I'm like, it's not the
Yeah.
same in English.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, like to answer your question, it wasn't really improvised, but it was certainly iterated upon by what Usha brought as a grandmother, as a performer, as this force of a person, and also by Anand as well.
How does she feel about to be on the big screen?
I mean, she honestly she had a ball like doing this. She had never acted before, which is unbelievable, and so many people have already told us in seeing the movie in the first couple of weeks, like a lot of people's favorite performance is Bhakti, and it's just like the movie really hinges on that performance because you have to buy this person is the grandmother, like you have to grieve her, and you have to feel Gayatri's sense of displacement, the fact that this grandmother's gone. But Usha, when she came to set, I think she was actually most nervous because she's our aunt.
Yeah.
She was most nervous that like I'm going to disappoint you two specifically.
Oh.
So she's like, I want to make sure that I meet your expectations for this character, which makes her a true professional.
Yes,
really.
definitely.
But and obviously we told her that would not be possible, and we cast her in this part for a reason. But when she came to set, like what was really incredible and amazing is that she was not intimidated at all by like the cameras or the lights or the spectacle, the scale, the crew. She just was so at home, and I think for her it's been a dream deferred. Like she studied theater in college, and just like life took her down a different path for so long, and so I think it's been really like rejuvenating for her, and like I think that's like a really beautiful part of the broader story of Namaslay, that like Usha Krishnan got to achieve her dream of movie stardom.
Yes.
Like I think that it just shows that like you can truly like do anything in life, and it's never too late to pursue your dream.
Exactly.
So she loves it, and I'm sure it's just the beginning of a long career as an actor for Usha.
You gonna put her in your next movie?
If she picks up the phone for us, we'll see. The phone's gonna ring off the hook now.
So I know we're running out of time, right? So in the movie, the way that your great aunt shows love to the main character is by bringing sweets. I unfortunately don't have Reese's Pieces, but hopefully this will be
Thank you.
something for you, part of your childhood.
Oh
I don't
my
know
gosh.
if
Thank
you
you
guys
so
had
much.
this, but I
think
grew up
we
with
did.
this here. This was
awesome. Chubby
yes.
I don't think I've even heard of these actually. Maybe we didn't get these.
in the Bay Area.
Bay.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
this
this
is
is awesome.
something that I've noticed that everyone in the Tamil community, grocery stores, they had these. I would run to them. It was anytime I see them, I'm like, oh my god, I can get these. And I actually found these at Walmart.
Are these your favorite flavors? Or?
I just picked up. They only had like 4 different flavors. I was like, I'm just gonna bring these,
Okay.
and hopefully, sorry for giving you the sugar rush that you're gonna have
No,
for the
we're
rest of the
gonna need
day.
it. We're gonna
Not
need
at
it.
all.
But I just wanted to bring some part,
so nice.
one way of Asian love bringing to thank you for the opportunity to meet you guys and bring you also drinks
Thank
and
you so
for
much.
being able to answer all my questions, because now I'm like, I have more lore to tell Amma when I go home.
Nandri, mikka nandri there. I'm so happy to have done this interview, and we really appreciate both of your time as well. Like, we think that this type of journalism, entertainment journalism, it is very important, and it is among the foundations of what we do as well. There would not be any Namaslay if not for people like you both who love movies and are interested in learning more about them. So thank you both so much for your
anytime.
work.
Yeah, and for us, like we grew up, we didn't have any connections to the film industry, and it was always just like a dream for us to become a part of the film industry. And it is like people like y'all who like conducted interviews, and like we're genuinely curious about like the decisions behind a movie that made it feel accessible to people like us. So I know it's not an easy time right now for film and journalism, but please keep doing what you're doing.